Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Bring Knowledge session at the English Book Depot. Every Friday, we gather here to celebrate art, literature, and culture. Today's conversation revolves around all of us have experienced teenagehood, yet each generation remembers and understands it differently. And perhaps one of the most interesting things about teenagehood is that it's never just about the teenagers themselves, it's also about families, relationships, communication, relatives, and other ways in which different generations try to understand each other. That's what make today's book, Being an Indian Teenager by Miss Pooja Marwah, and such an interesting start point for a conversation. We are happy to have with us Miss Pooja Marwah, the writer of Being an Indian Teenage. So we are happy to have you here. And today's observation, personal experience, and storytelling of yours, we would love to have your insights today. And before we move into the book itself, I would love to begin with you as a storyteller. So, what could you tell us a little more about your journey as a storyteller and the kind of stories and observations that have always drawn your attention?
Thank you so much, Sneha, Mr. Dutt, for having me. Really, really excited and delighted. As far as being a storyteller, I think somewhere all women, all girls, we all have that little drama inside us. I think my kids have always called me drama queen for the longest. So I think that storytelling has always been there ever since they were young because I am that hyper person in my family. Now, how did I start writing? I live in Dehradun, and in Dehradun, there is this thing which is the so-called school entrance, right? So I was from Welham Girls, and my elder daughter had to apply for school at that time. This was way back in 2015. So, we had to shuffle. I don't know how many of our audience knows that, you have to really go through the grind when you have to admit your child to school. Mr. Dutt would know that. And I used to shuffle from one to the other. And I was a helicopter mom, could not leave my children, my daughters with the driver. So I said, I will pick up, tiffin subah pack karti thi, my laptop, one thumbs up. And I used to just keep driving, waiting outside in the parking lot outside outside the city activity center where they used to go study. And over time, I started writing on that laptop because I'm just sitting in the car, I'm drinking a thumbs up. And a lot of times, the police used to come and be like, करते क्या हो रोज सुबह आ जाती हो 10:30 बजे एक लैपटॉप है एक थम्स अप साफ है ना उसमें कुछ है नहीं ऐसे नहीं भाई थम्स अप है पी के देखो so that is how, when I was writing it, I didn't realize it would turn out to be a book. And this was Pursuit, which was on the dysfunctional relationships that people have today, modern day marriages falling apart or staying together just for social reasons, which I don't think should be the norm, but it is sadly. Somewhere to work on that, when Corona happened, unfortunately or fortunately, we were all trapped in a home together. I live in a multi-generational home. I have my in-laws, I have my children. And at that time, there was a lot that we didn't know because my kids had been in school most of the time, in boarding school. I needed time to understand what they were like at home, and they needed time to understand me. That was one part of it. But the elders were on like a different planet. They just said that Dada Dadi just don't understand that everything is, they're just making fun and they're just this. And that's when I decided that, this is something we should talk about, which is how being an Indian teenager came about. And as we get on with the conversation, I'll tell you why we made it into a graphic novel versus, just a normal storybook, which will also be something that I would like to touch upon because of, again, reading. People don't read as much, but I hope that answers your question on storytelling.
Okay, yeah. So, graphic novel as you written. So, your approach for storytelling always been similar, or it has just evolved across the different forms, or
Yeah,
it's
across, I feel, and I think somewhere, Himani ji, you can add a light on this as creative people. I feel you cannot box us into one, like I write crime, I write young adult, or for example, even in acting, I act in romance movies, I act in thriller. I don't think as a creative person, you can do that. Why should you? You can write about anything that you feel like. So I would love to know from you, Himani ji, what are your thoughts on this before I answer?
Well, I think you're very right because especially artists, we hate being boxed
Yeah.
in a compartment.
You do one role and it's like, bas, इनको इसी में typecast करो. But
Yes,
why?
and when I entered the film industry, I mean, before that I was doing theater. So, it was a big challenge, because, and it was also a part of the success that if you are successful. So I started with this Bua's role in DDLJ, which became a big hit. So, I was offered Bua roles right, left, and center. And then I didn't know what to do, but I had to, because you can't go against the current. we are artists, but we are not like, the salmon which goes against the current. Some people, we of course try. So, what I tried, because of my training in theater, I tried to do Bua in different ways. Like if I've done Bua in Hero Number One, I tried to do it different. Then Subhash ji offered me a Bua and
Why?
Parde. And people were trying to, my seniors were trying to tell me, don't worry. See, you're getting typecast. And I used to get so frustrated, because in theater, there's no question of typecasting. We were doing all kinds of roles. So he says, don't worry, this is part of that. You are successful, that people want to. So it was literally a struggle that I was trying to do Bua differently. And then, of course, other roles also happened. I graduated on to become a mother and a chachi and a grandmother finally. So, and I was also one of the few actors who were fortunate enough for, I mean, they used to call me the female Anupam Kher. I used to do comedy plus tragedy plus negative also. I used to try all kind of roles. So I did, yes, I did manage to be a, salmon like artist,
Yeah, yeah. I'm so glad to
run
hear that.
against the current.
No, but I think it's so important because, this is a question a lot of people ask me whenever we do, interviews or talks that what is your genre? And I said, why would you even ask me that? Because
Yeah,
what if I don't want to write on young adults and I want to write on,
something
crime?
else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
you
maybe
should.
science fiction. Why not? But
Why
it's,
not?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think even in our publishing industry, I think Mr. Dutt could shed more light on that, is you just get typecast. I'm so glad you were the Salman, and I think we should all aspire to be that, that don't just go against with the flow. Why? I mean, no, it's one life. Try and explore whatever you want. So, yeah, I really love that insight. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Pooja, I want to say something here.
Yes.
It's not that difficult in the publishing world. You can have a wider interest and scope. You can write fiction, non-fiction, and it
But
gets
they don't
accepted.
accept you, sir. They just, I've been asked also, but you only do this. I said, no, I don't. I mean, I've done a mainstream fiction before. This is young adult. So to break, it took a good 4 years to say that I can do this and why are you boxing me into this? But then I guess you're right that initially you just get typecast and then you have to fight it out and kind of go against the tide. I
Finding your teeth, I will call that, so that you can bite better.
Okay, teeth, salmon, so much of an analogy here. We can use whatever works.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, Sneha, what's the next?
sorry, I know.
Yeah, coming back to the book and
Yes.
coming back to the teenagehood. So, your book explores the teenagehood at a time when young people are growing up in a very visible and expressive culture. So, how do you see teenagehood today, like especially in a world where identity, emotions, and experiences are like constantly being shared and performed online?
I think this is such a valid question, Sneha. You are Gen Z, and I have kids that are Gen Z too. One's 21, one is 18, 17. And I struggle with it in the sense they don't understand childhood, how childhood should be. Like everything is measured, not for my children, but I see, peers, they're always on a show. Everything that you do is for an audience. So my only question is why when are you living for yourself? Like, when we say go out in the mud today, I live in Dehradun and honestly I'm really blessed. My parents are in Mumbai. I remember when my children were really young, like 5 7 maybe, and they were growing up, used to go to Bombay, and my mom used to say that, your children are children, they are not like children in Bombay. Like at 5 or 6, they're just on the gadget, they know the brands, they know everything. Nothing against brands, but I'm just saying that innocence of childhood is somewhere not there. Like when I tell my own kids stories of, we used to go play hide and seek and we used to say climb the tree and do like funny things like that. Like, oh, Masi fell down from the tree and she broke her nose and she says, who does that? And I said, but that's what childhood is supposed to be. And then they'll show me their game and say, hey, you can play tennis online. And I said, tennis online is not the same as playing tennis on that court, falling down, bruising, going for chai pakoda after. Those are the things I wish a lot of younger kids, like teenagers, would try and imbibe instead of just focusing on that social media metric, because that's going to do nothing. And in a way, sadly, more than the children, also parents. There are parents with young kids that are only putting them on Instagram. My child did this, my child did this is what they did. In fact, I will add another thing. I work very actively on LinkedIn to build brands for people, right? So and we work with leaders, C-suites, execs. Now, this parent reached out to me, and I'm not going to name, but she's from Delhi and she had two very, very high performing children, which is great. When you're 9, 10, 11, you should be there. All she wanted is, now she's 13, I need to have her on LinkedIn because her peer so and so is on LinkedIn and he is all over. He's writing into Stanford and he's got connections and he's doing this. And I was like, slow down. They're only 11, like 12 years old. What is the rush? Like, what is the rush to put that 12-year-old on LinkedIn to showcase all her MUNs and debates and achievements? And you've got her to open some NGO. I mean, an NGO, when children open, it's become a farce to me because you're just doing it for that college admission, for nothing else. An NGO dies down as soon as you enter first year college. Let's be practical. I am also a college mom now. I've seen kids do that. And I'm like, why even bother? So somewhere I feel this is a conversation that parents equally should also have. We should have with them too. Himani ji, what would you say to that? Considering, with experience, I'm sure you would also have seen this kind of change in kids today.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, what were just talking about a normal kind of childhood. I and my friend, we both of us grew up in Dehradun and Doon school, and we used to talk about that. We are so lucky. We had such a beautiful childhood. We were climbing trees, like you rightly said. We were stealing guavas, lychees. I mean, today's Gen Z, I don't think they've seen fruits except in, these supermarkets, and they say they want to have all the mothers forcing down some fruits on them. But we used to literally climb trees and pluck mangoes and guavas and lychees. And, we were such naughty children, just jumping off from roof sheds. What a childhood we had. What
Yes.
adventures we had. And I really feel sad that this new generation is into. Of course, they're having. I mean, I've got nothing against being on this mobile and
Yeah.
computer. There's nothing wrong, but I feel that contact with nature they are missing, which is really sad. I think we should do something, at least the schools at least should do something so that it's part of the curriculum, that we are losing in touch with nature, and which is really sad. This is what
I agree with you on that. And schools, when you talk, like when I had a book session at a school, and this is something I spoke about to the teachers as well, they said, oh, well, we do have, like nature camps. I said, yeah, again, that nature camp is something you want to add in your annual calendar. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. You're not doing it for the kid. You're doing it for 3 days. So you can put it as an extra, oh, we did this activity. We went bird watching,
Yeah.
So I said, where is the real thing? Like when this parent from Delhi, I'm saying Sobo because of Bombay, but like a South Delhi school, it really hurt me. Like I was very disturbed that night as to at 12, 13, so much pressure on performance and network and being out there so that that child gets like an Ivy League college. Is it worth it? And then they'll burn out in like 2 years of that college. So where is the childhood? Because all your life you've got to put yourself on social,
Yeah.
work, and do everything, which is the reason I literally was compelled to write it. And even when writing it, I am guilty as charged because there are these 10 commandments in this book which talk about, like things that we tell our kids and then they retaliate back. Like It's like, if you're not going to study, I'm going to take away the Netflix password. Okay, I'll take that away. No, seriously, and I'll change it. But Himani ji, the fun part is I changed it literally, and about 2 hours later, I hear a movie and like something playing, and I said, "That's an American talking. How is she seeing it? Because they don't watch TV. For them TV is like TV kaun dekhta hai."
हाँ.
And then I said, "How did you get Netflix on?" And they just look at me and go, "VPN." I said, "अब वो क्या होता है?" Like there's always a jugaad. And then she turns around and says, "आप ही बोलती हो, India is a land of jugaad." I said, "मतलब मेरे पे everything you say comes straight back."
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's it. Sorry,
Pooja,
Sneha.
I'll add something more.
Yeah,
A new fad is make your child an author.
yeah, that's another one.
Where
Yeah, yeah,
my trade people are going to schools,
yeah.
and it's a very interesting scenario. They'll say that your child writes, so write a few pages, and after that they will ask the parents to pay an amount
Hmm.
and print 30 copies and give it to the parents, and the child has become an author. So
But you know, sir, it's sad, but it's true because
I said that's another one you can add to your list of
to the
portfolio
next.
wannabes.
Yeah, yeah, we must, because see, these are things, and that's why I'm saying children ko to theek hai, we can blame, but then the parents are also pushing them to do it. Like there are children even in Welham Girls School, in my children's school, that are writing poem books just for those 10-15 copies to send, because I'm applying to
Yeah, yeah.
Stanford. I am a published author, and
Wow.
Portfolios are
so
bought, portfolios are created by third party.
yeah.
You know what you said, something very interesting. And by the way, I plucked some chikus this morning. I couldn't climb the tree, but we put the ladder and I pushed my mali on top. I said, "मैं तो चढ़ नहीं सकता, तू चढ़ ऊपर," because I saw some chikus growing there. So it's a pleasure to have that kind of life, and I try and live with it. Why I wanted to come in here and I wanted to add something very interesting. See, today what has happened, the West capitalism is at loggerheads with East spiritualism. And if you look at the world today, what you are talking about, freedom and freedom of children growing up, that there was more spirituality when we grew up.
Yeah.
It's like someone walked in the other day and said, "Hello, you look like your mother." So I said, "Yeah, that's okay, but I don't want to knit. That's the only thing I don't want to do." So he said, "Why not?" So he says, "Is that a taboo?" I said, "No, it's just that I forgot to learn it from her. That's all." So what you said all this while ago, that our parents today don't have the time.
Yeah.
And when you talked about books, when you talked about portfolios, what really hit me was this, what we are trying to do and what I'm pushing in here. Read to lead.
Yeah.
So forget the other things. I'm simply saying today that even when it comes to reading, you get a list of books which they claim they have read. So you go to a school, the challenge we face, which we are trying to do, and which why we are here today, is simply because of that hard challenge.
Yeah.
People have lost the ability to read. Forget play, they've lost the ability to read. And I'm saying it loudly. So very simple. A teacher will give you a list of books. Teachers never read them. The child goes home and the parents don't have the books. So if a child does not see a book, if a child does not see a book in the hand of of a parent, that's the end of
They
the
are never
road.
going to read. Yeah.
And why we read today? Because we have seen 3 generations before us read.
Yeah.
So this is the challenge. If we read, we will become more sane. So if you see, reading is actually an antidote. So whether you go to theater or whether you go to writing or whether you do everything, the core is you have to first read. I'm sure Himani will say that without reading, there can be no theater also.
No, they can't. I'm quite sure.
And today, theater is stressed the same way as anything else is, because digital media is even gnawing onto the tail of the theater and eating it up, because the theater performances, where Himani ji, you know better how times have changed, and where will a
Yes, sir.
teenager want to go to a theater today?
Yeah.
And we grew up literally, sir, in Bombay, because Bombay, I mean, I've grown up with this theater culture, like we were in South Bombay and NCPA or Tata. I mean, I've grown up with at least 2 times a week going to see a local play at Prithvi or wherever we go. And that's something that I've been trying for years to get to Dehradun, but there is just no
Oh
audience
my
for theater.
God. Can I just chime in?
Yeah.
Because this is what I tried, since I have a passion for theater. That is how, I mean, It's my first love. I went to National School of Drama and I did theatre for 10 years and then I graduated onto films. But you see, I wanted to go back and do theatre in Dehradun, the point you're saying. And I thought when my father expired, I thought on his Barsi, what could I do? So I dramatized one of his stories, Sunehre Sapne, and I did that उनकी बरसी पर मैंने वो नाटक किया. Of course, I took the help of National School of Drama because where would I get the space? Where would I get money? So I I worked with all the theatre enthusiast people who wanted. Of course, some came because I was from the films, so they thought maybe they could get a chance. But whatever. So we staged a play, and people came, all invitations, and I tried to do it again the next year, and of course, finances every time. So I started doing. I one year I was reading a story. The other day I was performing. The other year I was performing the story. And then I realized that it's not like what you said about Bombay. Bombay has a culture
Yeah.
of theatre. People go and buy tickets.
Yeah.
But in Dehradun
They
and
don't.
in North, people will not buy tickets. And I get so angry. They will go and spend, there's no harm. I work in films also. They will spend thousands in multiplexes, but they will not buy a ticket for theatre.
For theatre, unless there's alcohol, they will not come. Let me
Yes,
say
which
it
was
straight.
so sad. And my brother, he's serving them tea, and they expect to be,
Yeah.
getting seated on the front row. There was a close friend of mine who just walked off because usko front row ki seat nahi mili. जबकि theater में तीसरे चौथी row में better view मिलता है. Front row में तो just it's
Yeah.
not a good view.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's that culture is not there, which is so sad, which is really sad. I mean, I just spoke because you were talking about it कि थिएटर का नॉर्थ में है ही नहीं
है नहीं हिमानी जी बहुत साल से I've been trying and trying, like once I got Silly Point to come here and do, but it was a struggle for me to get, oh my God,
that's what I shared. I tried it for 4 or 5 years
yeah,
and then
yeah,
I literally gave up. I said,
yeah,
what the hell? Yeah. I'm making an effort and
yeah,
people do, they think it's a favor to come and see your play. They want invitation, and invitation is not enough. They want you to call them on the phone कि हाँ भाई हमारा नाटक है जरूर आइएगा देखने, and then they come all decked up and they want to sit in the front seat. Interval में they want tea and snacks, and 1 month the actors have rehearsed. At least give them respect, give them the due. Then I told Himanshu, listen, I am not doing, if I do theatre next time I'm going to put tickets. So he
yeah,
says, what is this? My brothers, he's the typical do night. I said, no, the people have to respect the artists and the playwright and everyone who has done 1 month's rehearsal, to give him the respect, which Marathis have this tradition. Bombay
yeah,
mein hai, Gujarat mein hai, even Calcutta mein it's there. Sadly, not, and especially Dehradun, since that is my personal experience. In fact, I am part of the NSD society also, and they used to do theatre for passes. So I got after them. They please charge tickets, nominal tickets तो रखो कि लोग आपकी इज्जत करें, क्योंकि anything that is free, people will not respect you.
yeah,
But
I agree.
thankfully, they've started very minimal amount, 100, 500 ऐसा कुछ हो गया. But you must charge people.
Yeah.
I feel that. This is what I feel.
Neha,
Yeah,
your
but
questions, are they running out?
No,
We
no,
have
No,
reached
she's fine.
theatre.
I
no,
know, I
thank
know.
you.
I know we are
Let's answer
digressing a
Sneha's
little bit, but
Sorry,
questions.
sorry.
please
I
tell
Neha
us
said
just
about
went
Gen
off.
theatre.
Z, Gen Z is not getting a chance to ask questions.
No,
No, no, no,
actually,
please,
I'm
please,
I'm
Neha.
having
Yeah.
fun because I also did the VPN thing,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's very relatable. And
Then
also,
I will ask you one more thing, Sneha, which is again one of the commandments. So,
yeah,
teenagers today, ये crop top पहनना है, चलो singlet, sleeveless तक understandable, but crop top with ripped jeans. And I just, by the way, commented that, क्या है ऐसे फटे पुराने कपड़े, सब कुछ दिख रहा है, पेट वेट. सीधा जवाब आता है, that time she was like 13 years old and she says, तो जब आप साड़ी पहनते हो उसमें क्या है? And I said,
yeah,
y'all have an answer for everything. I said, it covers. She says, Mom, the sari is the sexiest piece of cloth that covers enough but shows enough also. But yes, when we wear a crop top, I mean, literally, you become like the devil wears Prada. And I said, "Why? It's not like that." But it just, you try and say that this is not the place for something like that. You want to wear a crop top and shorts, go to the beach and wear it. But kids, I'm sure you'll understand, you'll have the same
Yeah, and
arguments with your
also
mom,
every
Sneha.
day, every day when I, go out and I'm wearing baggy jeans, my mother always says, "You look homeless, you look homeless." I'm like, that's the point, that's the agenda, okay? Yeah,
Okay, so she's answering it herself.
yeah,
That you're giving it out that yeah, it's okay. So see,
it's,
those are
yeah.
things that we touch upon. Why? I mean, that is what the intercultural conversation in the book is about. But yes, please go on.
Yeah, also that's what I was talking about. This like also brings up something interesting about how many Indian like families live in intergenerational spaces where parents, teenagers, and sometimes even grandparents are all sharing the same environment. So in such spaces, different generations often have different ideas, as you talked about right now, like about independence, privacy, and individuality. So in your view, how can families navigate this dynamic, and what do you think about like adults and teenagers need to, work on communication in order to find a way to like live together?
See, for this, the one most important thing is communication. Because if something doesn't work or is something you don't understand, like, see, it's a simple example, written about it in the book also. As parents, we will ask our children, or say, the grandparents will ask, what do you want to have for dinner? So the child will turn around and say, okay, I will have kali dal, paneer, and roti. But she will go and make lauki, pili dal, and chawal. So that is where it starts. You've asked me for a choice. I've given it to you, but you've anyways made what you wanted to. So then why ask? So it's a small thing, I know, but it starts from there. And then it takes into the big things where children feel that you don't respect a choice or an opinion, then why are you asking me? If you're asking me, how do I want my milk? I'm asking you for a banana shake. But you decide that, no, banana shake is not healthy. I will give you, a kiwi shake. So then why ask? So I feel those are things that it always starts with food or some a way of talking. But what is happening is I feel we don't communicate enough. A lot of families, again, I'm blessed to be living in Dehradun where we can chat and talk and communicate. We're not always on a rush. Otherwise, I feel in cities, even when I visit my parents, they may be retired, but there's always so much stress on idhar jana, udhar jana. There's 100 things you want to do, but it's a slower life, but it's a life. So I feel that the conversation on the dining table is very important, and that cannot have a mobile or a screen. However important it is, even if you want to talk about the war that is happening right now, it doesn't need to be on a screen on the dining table, which is something that there is. Another thing is, I've lived with 4 generations, 5 when I was growing up in Mumbai. But even with those, we never had a clash because everybody had their boundaries. Today, I feel like the children are taking it to another level where it's like I, me, myself. The us in the middle get squashed because the elders don't understand that why are they becoming so aloof? Why aren't they talking? They aren't talking because you know what? They're always on their gadget. They've forgotten the art of an in-person communication. And I see that awkwardness in a lot of Gen Z kids, sadly. I see when they go out, even in a coffee shop, if you notice, like right, where you are, even there, how many people are genuinely having a conversation with each other? They're just awkward. I mean, they may be able to do teen sentence bolenge, and that's it. You ask them about current affairs, they're going to be like, oh, let me get on Instagram and I'll tell you. And I'm like, Instagram is not current affairs. Get on BBC or CNN, read. Forget the reel. Read what the site is saying if you must read online. That is somewhere, like Mr. Dutt rightly said, if we are not reading, how are they going to learn? I can also say, hey, okay, but let's just watch the reel on Instagram. We'll find out what's happening about, the war. Or I can say, sit with me on CNN. Let us, if we have to see a visual, see it on CNN. Let's read what is happening. Let's read the newspaper. Newspaper तो कोई पढ़ता ही नहीं है, which is so sad. Like news भी आपको Instagram पे ही देखना है because everything is Instagram. Because Instagram is running on that. It's making the kids feel that whatever you are seeing and doing, it can read you. And isn't that scary? Today we're sitting here, maybe we're talking about a holiday to the Bahamas. Even before we finish this Zoom call, my phone will already give me options on where I can stay, how I can travel, which is the cheapest air flight. and they are not understanding that, which is something that I've explored in being an Indian teenager. Is because of this they get drawn into the world of the deep fake. And you can say AI hai, ye hai, but how do you safeguard yourself? I mean, parents are not, sitting there just to put you down in every step. It's just that we have to find a way to communicate. If I don't like something, it's a habit. I sit with my kids and just tell them, I did not like that you said this or you behave like this. That needs to go better. And then if they have a counter argument, they'll give it. But we have this thing that before we sleep at night, if there's something that didn't work, we share that. And if there's something that did work in the day, we share that too. So it's just a little ritual of sorts that we do just before you sleep, and it takes maybe 30 seconds, but it counts. See, I'm at Dehradun, and I mean, I don't know if I should, what the hell, I'll confess. So when I was newly married here, and everybody said, nay, social life and kitty party and this, and I was never that sort. I was in Bombay, I was at Wellam, very focused on work and writing, and I'm a reader too. And of course, to write, you have to read. So I kind of stepped out from society because I refused to go for lunches and teas and dinners just to go drink, chat, talk utter nonsense and come back. That was not life for me. I just thought I was wasting 3 hours of life that I will never get back. So for what? So when you consciously make that choice to focus on you, a lot happens, a lot you can do, and children see that. It's very easy for someone to say, hey, you were always obsessed with children, and you never stepped out, you don't go for parties, you don't do anything, but that's not my life, right? But that is the life for a lot of people my age. And I have been told this straight to my face, that you're like boring, and I'm perfectly okay being boring because I'm doing something that I love, and I'm owning my story, and I'm writing, I'm doing stuff that I love. And that is something, when I talk at schools also, I try and say that you get into this pressure of performing. We say performance marketing in the online world. This is also performance marketing. You're just trying all the time to be out there to please someone or the other. And in the end, when you look back at life at 50 or 60 or 70, you're like, what did I really do? So there are questions that we should really ask ourselves today, because with AI and digitization and technology taking our world, like literally, I'm in the space of AI, but even I am getting overwhelmed because there's too much happening in AI. Again, the book talks about it, that it's so quick and so fast that the children don't even realize what is happening, and you're going to get left behind if you don't read, if you don't keep up to date. So instead of focusing on who is doing what and who is saying what, the idea is to focus on you. So yeah, I hope that answers you.
But
Pooja, you have the book.
Yes.
Neha, you have the book.
Go
Some
ahead.
viewers just show the book. We have not shown the book to the viewers
Yes,
at all.
yes.
I
So
mean, we're talking so much about what?
Yeah, we're talking about this
so
book.
this is
So,
the
Pooja,
book
would you
Being
like to
an...
read something from the books? A blurb, or
Okay,
I know it's a
sure. I would
graphic
love that.
novel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
why don't you
before
pick
I
up
read,
something
sir,
in your words? Read something,
my
then we
words.
need time for question answers also.
Oh, okay, we're running short. But before I go, take a quick second to say why graphic novel. Again, when Westland
Yeah.
picked it up, sir, and said that they wanted to do a graphic novel, initially resisted, because I was like, no, the story has a lot more of me than a graphic novel could. But I grew up again to Archie, Tinkle, Chacha Chaudhary. I'm sure some people in the audience could relate to that. And I said, maybe it's time we get them back to reading through that. Maybe that is some sort of a
Good. That's a
format
good
that
thought.
would kind of work. So just give me a second. I'll get the book. It's right at the back. So
Sneha, you have any questions in your armory anymore?
Yeah, I have, and I have a lot
You'll
of.
have to pickle your questions and serve them now because time is running
I
out.
will
Pickle
just
them.
take a quick second. So for our audience, this is the book Being
Yeah.
an Indian Teenager. And it's about a Dadi who becomes the girl's ally because her mother doesn't understand her. I have this thing with South India, very, very attached. So it's this South Indian girl who shifts into Mumbai, goes to this typical Mumbai Sobo school, and her mother has this obsession with her neighbor's YouTube channel because she's an influencer. And she always copies hairstyles, and her daughter has to, she says, I would just go to school with those weird hairstyles because I cannot fight my mom every single day. Till the grandmom comes in and realizes that the hairstyle was not the problem. It was the basic mindset that the mother refused to understand the child, and the child retaliated by getting on Instagram and talking about it. So that is how they get drawn into the deep web. So, okay, just to read a little bit. This book has something that I really love, which is this page, which is called the 10 Commandments.
Yeah, same. I was just open this way. That's like, yeah, this is something good.
Yeah, so these are 10 commandments taken from kids that I have spoken to. I have interviewed about 240 children, and I will read out just two or three. Get off Netflix and study, she says. Of course, we are. Ever heard of the Queen's Gambit? It's chess and grit. Suits, strategy 101. Meanwhile, you're watching the 70s dacoits and dramatic village bells. So, yeah, let's call it even. Yeah, mom? Don't talk to boys or girls, just be a rock. This one's confusing. First, you tell us boys are frogs, then suddenly we're at risk of liking girls too. Can we just talk to humans? Adam and Eve were a thing, remember? Give us time, let us figure it out. People will talk. Obviously, if we laugh loud, they will talk. Wear a tankini, score 99 or 55, they'll still talk. We are not dumb, just hormone charged. People talk about us because we are worth talking about. That's just a little bit.
Yeah. Also, I was reading this, don't talk to boys or girls, just be a rock. So nowadays, I've read an article from the Vogue. It's very trendy right now. It says having a boyfriend is so embarrassing. So people are, yeah. So people are having now girlfriends, like they are like lesbo, and it's a trend. I will tell you, it's a trend. Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. Now the kids get drawn on to peer pressure where to look cool, to be out there, you want to project. And because in the house we don't give them that space to talk, it's getting bad to us. Which is why I definitely want to get out and speak about what this book is going to do, because it isn't about a book, it's about understanding, it's about communication. That is what is required in India, especially today, because I feel that this is where we lack, लोग क्या कहेंगे, ये क्या कहेगा, छोड़ दो उसको या बाहर भेज दो. जब कुछ नहीं समझ आता, just send her abroad. But that's not an answer, I mean, that is not the answer. But yeah, happy to take questions if anybody has.
Jugjeev sir is here from my good school. Jugjeev sir, you speak to young people every Sunday. I'm sure you'll have a question to ask Pooja. You
No, my
tackle teen
question is
challenges every Sunday.
my question is the same to most writers who come: how to get children to read.
Himani will tell you something also.
Yeah. The best way to get them to read is comic, because then you're not forcing down something to read. You're not telling them, as we discussed earlier, give you a list and you must read this. You're sitting to have a conversation and saying, let's read together. I think when you make it an activity, okay, that is how kids kind of get drawn into let's do it. Like a small thing I'll share with you, sir. If I want to make, say, my daughter work out, and I've been after her, you must cycle, outdoor activity, because she's giving her class 12 boards. You're cooped up in a room all the time studying, little bit free time you have, you want to get on Netflix. So let's go out and do it. But it wasn't happening till I said, how about this? Let's go for a walk. Let me tell you about my childhood. Why don't you understand mom before you set out and go to college? So we made it a story. Because we made it a story, now every evening, more than me saying it, it's like, it's our walk time, let's go. So I think somewhere we try very hard in saying, you have to read. The minute you tell a Gen Z or a young kid that this is something you have to do, 99.9% they will not do it. They will do something totally opposite. So we'll have to reverse it, maybe find something, like meet them where they are. That is what this book does. It's not a lecture. It's just about meeting them exactly where they are, which is Instagram. So this book is based on Instagram. What happens and how we talk to them through Instagram. Like, you laugh when I say this, Himani ji would have a good, crack at this too. There was a time when my children and I communicated through reels. Because when I was struggling to communicate something, I used to find reels and I used to send it to them, and then they sent it to me. And that's how we realized that we really need to talk about this. And so, Mr. Singh, that actually worked. We started doing things and we started talking a lot more than we were. And that's something I realized, that instead of fighting out with them and forcing things which they will never do, this is the way to do it. So this is something you can try. Otherwise,
We have
I
more in
can
the
come on the
audience.
Zoom call and chat again.
Yeah. Jugji, get her on Sunday. One of your Sunday sessions, and when you have, say, in April, get her for a Sunday school. I'm sure you'll get some excitement in your room. Like, when Karthik turns up, he does things differently. I'm sure you can get Pooja or take Pooja along to Jaipur for the My Good School retreat.
Ha ha.
She'll add some zing to it. It just so happens, I
I'm
thought
going
for
to drag
everyone's
Himani ji also. I need different perspectives.
for
So we'll have
everyone's
different
knowledge,
age perspectives.
just to let you know what you rightfully said, and that's why we started doing these retreats, where we started going and living in a school or an environment. We took a few books along, not that we didn't, but we actually met the children physically.
Yeah.
We met the teachers physically and spread over 3 4 days, did a bit of service, a bit of skill, a bit of sport, and a bit of study. So, study was, of course, the usual reading cycle. So, what you are trying to say, we try to do that in a capsule.
Yeah.
And that's why we try and emphasize to a school that the school curriculum itself is at fault.
Yeah.
It
It
does
is
not give enough fresh air to the child today. So that's
too
what
much
we are
pressure. Too
stressed
much
with. Yeah,
pressure.
absolutely. So our retreat is happening in April. It's in Mayur School, Jaipur. Please join us. We are there
Yeah.
from 10th April to 14th April.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else in the audience has a question? Then we'll hand it over to Sneha to do the rest. Gaurav, Vandana, Meenakshi ji, Meenakshi Srivastav, would you like to ask something, ma'am? Do you have any challenges in getting people to read? Jugjeev has. Meenakshi Prasad, your experience of working with children. Any question you have? How do you handle teenagers?
Oh my God, that's like the $1 million question. How do you handle teenagers? Everything else we can handle, but growing up with teenagers and Gen Z. Like, this is something I tell my mom every time we talk. I was like, you really had it easy compared to kids. And she says, Tum log bigarte ho. I said, no, we are not. It's just that it's this it's a challenge, कुछ भी बोला ऐसा हमें तो बोल देते थे like when we say like oh we are so stressed with this एक थप्पड़ पड़ता है and all stress where something everything out and now it's like no you should calm down listen to some zen music पता नहीं what people say and I actually sometimes sir I'm actually zapped as to what are we heading towards. We used to say that it's going to be them versus us. It's not them versus us anyway. I think we're just trying to put an AI humanoid robo or something inside every child out there, and that's just really sad. Like it's scaring me as a parent, as an individual, especially for us in India with so much pressure, so much emphasis on that erstwhile. Like I was in class 10 at Welham Girls. I studied Julius Caesar. My child is doing exactly the same thing in the same way with the same notes. Nothing's changed in 25 years. How do we expect anything to change? I don't know. I mean, these are the conversations I would love to have, to get more people aware, because only if you're aware would you want to make that change, is what I think. I mean, Himani ji, I would love to hear from you.
Jai Hind, ma'am. Me, Meenakshi
Meenakshi ji
Srivastava.
is here. Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. Please come in.
Sir, I welcome your program, and I'm very hopeful that through your program we will learn something new, and we can guideline and we can give the guideline to the children when they conduct and when they attend this program from Sunday. Okay, sir. So nowadays we face so many problems, but through your program we can conduct and we can give the guideline to the students. Ki through your program now they can encourage through the readings, because mostly children we see that they are totally engaged in mobile phone, Instagram. So through your program I hope so ki they will encourage and they will groom themselves in the reading program.
Jugjeev
They
sir,
will
Meenakshi ji is from Ayodhya, Sunbeam School.
yes,
So
sir.
you have not met her. So maybe you should get her to your Sunday school one day and try and share strategy with her as to how we get to do a Sunday school.
Yes, sir.
See,
Yeah, that's
our
good.
goal is very simple, Jugjeev and me. We understand that you can't go away from digital media.
Yeah.
So we use digital media for good. That's the whole emphasis. And we have almost 17, 18 years of work. We started in 2012, by the way, doing what we are doing today. So it's almost 15 years of work, which is inside it. And the focus is very simple: reading, reflection, and building relationships.
Yes,
And
sir.
we use the digital medium. We make no qualms. We don't compete that we don't use digital medium. We obviously use digital medium. Whole concern at the moment is how do you use the digital medium better? Is there going to be a digital divide, or is it going to be a digital reconciliation? That's where the challenge lies, I think. Because if you can reconcile to being in a digital medium and using it for good, I'm sure there's fantastic potential, because it brings people together. You and us are here. We are here in different, not time zones really. We are on the same time zone, but in different parts of the country.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
Yeah,
you,
I
Meenakshi.
just
One,
want to ask one thing, ki, number of the student is bound to attend this program, or they are
no, ma'am,
free?
there's no limit. If your school's part of Good Schools Alliance, anyone's welcome. Any number are welcome. We have no restriction. And second is, all our sessions have been set up on the YouTube channel about an hour later, so you don't
Yes,
miss
sir.
anything. For example, currently with exams on, children
Yes.
are going to be busy with the school and
Yes,
not
that's
come for
the
the reading
matter.
sessions.
We didn't
So
attend your program, sir, because of the
yeah, so
examination.
yeah. So recordings are available. I think Vandana wants to ask something. Vandana Vinayak.
Yes, good evening. I think this is the first time I'm joining the Friday session. And yeah, the topic is something that everyone is actually interested in. And we are all being a teacher and a mother, like we have been struggling with this issue. And we're still trying to figure out how to make students and children read. So yeah, and I liked how what Pooja said, that the easiest way is the comics, because that's something a child of any age likes to see pictures more than reading paragraphs, big paragraphs and essays and all. So that's one way of getting them into the initial habit of reading, like small dialogues, and then they carry on, they get interested in it, and they carry on, want to read more books, and that's one way. But I myself am struggling with my students how to make them read, because I try to do a lot of things, trying to encourage them, motivate them. Like, I don't know how much money I spend on chocolates, just trying to make them read. Yeah. I mean, different age groups have different likings and interests. If we speak of elementary school or sixth or seventh grade, their interest is different. And I have seen, especially like when if I talk about fifth and sixth grade, they really like, if they see their friends reading, they get interested, because there's that sense of competition comes in. Then, oh, my friend has read these many books, I want to read more than that. That also helps. And um, I think slowly, and it also depends, you have to be an example. If I go to the class and take a book with me and show them what this book is and how I love the story, and tell them the story, and slowly, step by step, I suppose they will get into the habit or interest of getting to know what the books are, what the stories are. And it's a slow process. And well, internet, I mean, we ourselves are the victims of that. It's very difficult for us also, when we know that everything is right there on the internet. Just a click and you get to know every news, everything, summary of the books. Kindles. I mean, Kindles. I personally don't like Kindle, because I want to have a feel of the book in my hand. But it's so easy for everyone to just go online and read the story and find every news, everything in this earth, in this world, right there in front of them. And sometimes, to save time, or when we are in a hurry, or we just want to walk around and listen to the news, we go to internet and listen to that. But if we want to go back a little bit, I suppose we have to be an example in front of our children. That
You
is the
said
first step
something
to.
beautiful, Vandanaji. I always say this, and I'm saying this for the nth time. Just do one thing tomorrow if you're in a school. Tell every teacher in your school to issue a library book and carry it for the whole month. Just carry it.
Exactly.
Don't read it. Don't read it. Start with that. It makes a
Hmm.
lot of difference. And I've tried this in dozens of schools, where a teacher just carries the book and some curious child will open the book because the teacher was carrying it to see
Yes.
what is inside the book. I just give you a small practice where you preach. So thank you for
Mhm.
that. And I think we're running out of absolute time, and we are more than time. So I will hand the stage to Sneha to marshal the time and do the needful, because we all bullied Sneha out, and that's the challenge with us. We just push the Gen Z out. So over
No,
to
no,
you,
no. So
Sneha.
sorry, Sneha, but
No, it's
I hope we
fine.
managed to cover a lot of your questions.
No, it's fine. Thank you so much, Ms. Pooja, for sharing your insights with us. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here and part of this Brewing Knowledge session. And as we come to the end, books like Being an Indian Teenager allow us to revisit that time, yeah, with greater empathy and perspective. Thank you so much, Ms. Pooja. And thank you so much, Ms. Himani, ma'am. And thank you so much, everyone, for being here. We'll see you on next Friday. Thank you.
Who's your
Thank
next guest? Tell us that also.
Yeah.
Sneha, who's your next guest?
We are having Priyansha. She's a local author from Dehradun only, and we are having her. Her book is "We Have Never Been Single." So yeah, it's about It's a self-help book, a non-fiction self-help book. So yeah, it's also loved by Gen Z people. So yeah, we'll see.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
So, Pooja, this is another thing we are trying to do, is to get literature which young people are reading. So
Yeah.
we're trying to get to that, because what happens is we at My Good School tend to read what we feel is good for them. So we're trying to understand where they are and what they would like to read. That's another second pointer. First is carry books. Second, what are they reading? Why don't we start with that? And third, most important, I say that there aren't many homes with books there. So if the
True.
child is born with the book around and the child sees the mother touching the book as much as he touches the child, that's the secret of love for books.
Yeah. So parents do play a big role. Parents,
Absolutely.
grandparents,
So I
everybody.
mean that's where, I mean, every teacher is a parent, every parent is a teacher. Remember that. And we get carried away by saying you're a teacher and I'm a parent, which is the biggest anomaly in the world. How the hell can you be two different things?
Yeah.
If you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're forgetting that. And if you're a teacher, you're first a parent.
Yeah. True that.
So
Thank you
over to
so
you,
much.
Sneha, and thanks again, everyone. It's been a wonderful evening. We meet every Friday at 5:30 to celebrate literature, art, and culture. We try and do physical events also at the bookstore, which is happening on 10th Tuesday. We have an author at 11:30. We have an author coming, so if you're here, come by. We'll give you a coffee and you can meet the author. So we do these things online. We do these things offline. So we adapted to both medium, which is brick and mortar as well as digital. So thanks again, Sneha. Before you sign out, say thanks to Jugjeev sir, who
Yeah.
specially took out time from My Good School and came by. Jugjeev sir, last word before Sneha kills you.
No,
No, no, we don't want him killed just yet. He's more than open to
If you see,
talk.
Last word to
shut the
ye
screen
hai,
is killed only.
it's just amazing to see Himani here. Himani, your dad taught me Hindi, so amazing respect for him. And the only way I paid back to him was I got a 1 in Hindi and SC. So
Over to you, Sneha.
thank you so much, Jugjeev sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We'll see.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Ms. Pooja. It was nice
Bye.
meeting you. Yeah.
Bye, sir. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you, everyone.